in Scarborough, which is home to William Smith, the father of geology. He was first to use fossils as a mapping tool for rocks. Behind us is the Rotunda Museum, which was built by William Smith in 1892. In Scarborough we have a Jurassic coastline, which is famous for its geology, with fossils like ammonites and dinosaur footprints.
William Smith used fossils to subdivide geological time. This is his first geological map of England and Wales, created in 1815. Plastics could become a key marker of the Anthropocene, given that the Earth is now full of millions of tons of plastic that is produced every year, and due to plastic not being biodegradable, it ends up in the soils and the ocean beds. There is already some evidence that plastic is being deposited into the fossil record.
A zone fossil is a fossil that first of all evolved rapidly, so that it represents a short period of time. It's also geographically widely distributed. It's readily recognisable in theory, and ideally it's planktonic or nectonic if it's a marine fossil, because they get distributed more widely. In practice, there's no such thing as an ideal zone fossil.
Plastics are a problem for the natural environment as they are resistant to being broken down by weathering or erosion and can take 20 to 500 years to fully biodegrade. This is harmful to the natural environment as plastics are persistent and they stay in the environment for long periods of time.
We went to the Scarborough North Bay and took sand samples from two different areas, one at the beach near the chalets and one of the sand close to the sea. We used quadrats to pick an area of sand and took the samples from within those areas. Then we went to the South Bay and used the same quadrat to take samples from the sand near the sea and on the sand of the beach close to the road. We expected to see more plastic from the
Now that we had collected the samples, we needed to sift through the sand to measure the amount of microplastics present. We separated the sample using a sieve stack by washing the fine sand through the sieve while the larger debris remained stuck on the mesh. This would include any microplastics that was in the sand. Unfortunately, our results were inconclusive because we struggled to identify the microplastics. However, a 2017 study in Bristol yielded more useful results. They extracted over 1,000 suspected microplastic particles from samples from just 15 beaches. This plastic will eventually become part of the geological record.
The wax melted in the beaker represents plastic melting in the sun or due to geothermal heat from volcanoes underneath the crust of the earth. This is especially the case in Hawaii, where volcanic activity is widespread and it is also really hot due to the sun's energy. The plastic melts in this heat and forms a concrete which naturally would be formed by other concretes such as quartz. This concrete then binds together smaller rocks, pebbles, or other forms of sediment together to form a conglomerate. However, plastic can also be a sediment, and when it does this, it forms a thing called a plastiglomerate, which uses plastic as a concrete.
In the future, do you think plastics will be good zone fossils to use for the Anthropocene?
That's an interesting thought. Well, yes, I suppose it's rather like looking at beer bottles, for example. When you you look at the Victorian beer bottles, they're very different from modern ones. And different plastic receptacles, I'm sure, will change through time. You know, even say just a milk
Yeah.
container, they've changed shape through time.